everyone. So I wanted to talk about Ruby Dixon. This is the Corsairs series. So we have the story is Mathiras. I was talking about it last week, how I was like trying to get through it. Ruby Dixon, I either really like her books or some of them just really don't hit for me at all. So it all depends. But I have read a lot of Ruby Dixon's books. This series here, I am not a huge fan of. There's only really like 2 of the books I think I really, really liked. All the rest of them were kind of like, you know? So we have the characters of Helen and Mathiras. Now, Helen is an illegal clone. She was created from obviously another type of alien life form. And so in order for people to know that she's an illegal clone, she's like, her skin is more like red in tint. So that's how people know, okay, these are illegal clones. Now, there's something special about her because she has like a lot of pleasure spots, things like that. And I think that's why her alien species is really coveted in space, is because she has a lot of spots like behind her ear, all this different stuff around her body. She gets really, excited and like turned on. And so Mathiras was a part of the brothers that ended up rescuing the women. And so all the other ones have gotten together with their mates. And so now Mathiras is like the only one left of the brothers who hasn't had a mate yet. So he's trying to be very patient. So I said, the good things I liked about this was I really liked how Mathiras was super patient with Helen, like the patience of a saint. The bad things I didn't like about this was Ruby Dixon said in her author's note that she was trying to create a character like Lilo from The Fifth Element for Ellen, but honestly, I didn't see it. Lilo was very innocent and naive of the world, which in a sense Helen was. But Helen's oversharing of intimacy, constant clinginess of Mathiras, and her overconfidence was so irritating on my nerves. I really tried to see Helen's perspective, but I really wish that Helen was able to get more exposure on the Rizda 3 planet for some time and was able to mentally mature before she got together with Mathiras. Now, there's might be some people who would consider Helen more childlike. I don't see that in a way to where, to me, she's an adult, so she has like her own thoughts in her head. But I will say, like, when you are, we all are in a sense corrupted because we have like discovered things throughout the years to make us mature and grow into the adults that we end up becoming, With her, it's like she didn't have that chance to grow. She was like born, as a clone. So her body is an adult body, but she's only been like alive, out of like, I guess you could say out of like a deep sleep hibernation for like a few years. So she's very, like I said, she's very innocent and naive of the world. And so she was exposed to like sexual videos. I guess you could say pornography. She was exposed to it like early on. Like, I think the soldiers that were kind of like holding the women captive, they wanted to obviously try to turn on Helen because, she was more of a, she's like a beauty and all that stuff. And Helen wanted Mathiras to see, I'm going to say Maddie, because that's what they called him in there, Maddie. She wanted him to see her more than just a pretty face, more than, you know, her looks. So I did appreciate that she wanted him to see her as something else, you know. And I thought it was a bit like kind of a Mary Jane character, because she's like, she obviously was genetically engineered, you know, cloned and all that stuff, genetically altered, to where she had like these, like, I wouldn't say powers, but she had like these abilities. And I was just like, okay, yeah, she's got these abilities. She never realized she got these abilities, but she does. Okay, sure. Yeah, that really, I didn't like. I was like, okay, she's got these powers. All right. So plus I really wished that the story was wrapped up quicker than it was. It dragged on and on for me. And I was really bored and couldn't wait to get through it. I was hoping that Helen would be more mature at the end, but I didn't feel that way for her character. Also, I kept picturing this one character in my head from a movie. Now, this is like a late 80s cheesy movie, but it's still worth a watch. You know, if anybody can able to see it somewhere, check it out. So I kept picturing the character of Cherry in the movie Cherry 2000. I'll go and put the thing here. She was a robot that was very hollow and lacked any depth to her. She was basically like a homemaker that did everything to please her husband, like in and outside of the bedroom. But what made the movie really cheesy to me is that she like did all this stuff for her like husband, but then it's like they were making out like in the kitchen, and she got wet. She ended up getting like wet and like malfunctioning. And then he basically took like her chip that was like behind her ear that had like all her memories and all this different stuff that she like collected. And he took it so that way he can go and get another Cherry 2000. And the character, there was this character, I can't remember her name, but anyways, there was this character played by Melanie Griffin that she was helping him find the robot. And so him and Melanie Griffith's character ended up falling in love. And so at the end, he really was like, he didn't want the, you know, he didn't want the robot, you know. So he was willing to give up the robot. He abandoned this robot. She was like, okay, bye, kind of thing. Very shallow, very, very one-dimensional. And I was like, I kind of feel bad for the robot, you know, even though I'm like, well, he ended up with this woman he fell in love with who was human. But I was kind of like, he abandoned that robot. He gave her these memories and abandoned her. And I was like, dude, you fucked up. You know, you're fucked up, man. You're fucked up. You should have just taken the chip out of her, you know? Yeah. So that movie, it's as cheesy as it is. It reminded me of this story with Helen, where she's like very like, I don't know, immature, just lacked maturity. And like I said, I don't want to say childlike, but it's like, you know, there's this innocence to this character where it's like they haven't been like corrupted yet, you know, by life. And so for me, I was just like, I don't know. I don't like this character, but then she has like these powers that she didn't know she had, these abilities. And I'm just like, okay. Because what made it, this is the difference between Lilu from The Fifth Element compared to Helen. Lilu was very innocent and was very naive of the world, but she learned very quickly how to survive on, you know, the planet that she was on. Because she was, you know, basically an alien race that was this old ancient alien race. And so she ended up, you know, running into Corbin Dallas, literally, in his cab. And she learned English very quickly, learned how to read it, learned how to speak it very quickly by watching things, you know, watching the things around her, watching television, things like that. And then she went and she learned how to fight by watching videos, watching Kung Fu and all that stuff. So she learned quickly by watching stuff. So that's what I think was kind of the difference between the movie The Fifth Element. The Fifth Element, she was very, like, innocent of the world, but she learned very quickly how to survive. And where this one here, it's like she automatically had those abilities, like, that were genetically engineered into her, and it just was like, you know. So yeah, for me, I think I prefer Lilo from The Fifth Element. She's a better character. The character, you could see the growth of her learning about the world, you know, and forming her own path in it, you know. And even though she was very strong, Lilo was a very strong character. She kicked ass and take names character. But the one thing she wanted is she wanted someone to love her. She wanted love. And that's where Corbin Dallas came in. So for me, yeah, I prefer the movie. Like, I understand where Ruby Dixon was coming from with the character, but I was just like, this chick is too clingy and too annoying, and it didn't work. It did not work for me, and I was just like, I was so frustrated with her character. And I just couldn't, I could not, I tried, I really tried to like the character, but I couldn't. And so I was like, I was kind of skimming over the book, like trying to get through it, you know. Because I wanted to see, like, if she matured at all. And it's just, I didn't see it. I just didn't see it. And I was just like, that's a shame. I really wanted to like it, but unfortunately I didn't. I ended up giving it a 2 because I was just like, no. So yeah, I will go and talk about my next book. I'm going to start reading this. So the next clip you're going to see is me either halfway through the book or finishing the book. So yeah, I will update you later. Okay, update. So I have not started this book yet. I'm hoping that tonight I can start it, but I did manage to finish another book. So I read on my Kindle. This is the 3rd book in this post-apocalyptic series by Claire Kent. This is, I think it's Embers. And this one has a good size age gap. You know, the woman is like 21, and I believe that the hero, because they never say his age, I believe the hero's probably in his late 30s, early 40s, around there at least. So there's probably like almost like a 20-year age gap. So this is a romance between Cal and Cal's dead son's girlfriend. So Rachel and her boyfriend, I believe the son's name, I think it was Derek, if I remember correctly. But they managed to get help from his dad. You know, him and his dad are estranged. They really don't have a great relationship because he's kind of like wasn't really a good person when he was younger, and he did some bad things, and so he ended up going to jail. And then when he got out of jail, he ended up being told by Derek's mom that, you know, Derek is his son. So he, you know, basically kind of switched his life around and was trying to be a good person and, you know, do right by his son. But they really don't have a great relationship. So Derek's mother passes away, and Rachel had lost her mom the year before. And so they decide they're going to try to, you know, get out of the area that they're in. And luckily they run into Cal at the time, and Cal takes them up to his cabin up in the mountains. So they try to make a go of living up there. Well, what happens is Derek, he was sick when they went up there, and obviously he died. He succumbed to his sickness, and so after that, after he died, it was basically her and Cal. So she first didn't like him, and it's like they kind of like started to get comfortable with each other and started to become like friends, you know, and enjoying each other's company. You know, it's better to be with somebody than be by yourself. So they started to enjoy each other's company and get friendly with each other, and you know, it evolved into, you know, a relationship. So I enjoyed this one. I thought it was done well. Age gap romances always are tricky because if the heroine is very immature, it's hard for me to believe the story. Like with Princess, the previous book, I didn't believe the romance. It was hard for me to believe the romance. But this one here, I felt like was done right. And also, I like the fact that Cal was very hesitant about getting in a relationship with her because he thought she needed to be with someone like her own age, you know, and not be with him who was older and all that stuff. He didn't want to feel like he's taking advantage of her, and that, you know, he felt like a creeper, you know, of being attracted to his, you know, dead son's girlfriend. So it took him a little bit to kind of warm up to her and start to, you know, go from there. There is a separation toward the end. I understand the reasoning of why there was this separation with the characters. So it might piss some people off, though. I'll just say that. Some people might be mad reading it, though, of the separation. But I still enjoyed this book. I still enjoyed it. I did give it 4 stars, and I gave it around 3, you know, for the spice scale. It had some good, you know, good spice in it. But yeah, this one here I thought was pretty good. And I like her series because, you know, this one here, this is another part of one of her books. This one, you could see, they're not very long. They're more kind of novella size books, and I can get through them pretty quickly. So this one here, I got through it in like a day, you know. So it's the same thing with like Embers and some of the other books. I like them because they're more shorter reads and I can get through them pretty quick. So yeah, that's what I've read so far, is that one. I have another book on my Kindle that I'm starting to read, but I really need to start getting through some of the chapters with this book here. And I'm hoping that I can get through this book in this video. So, you know, I can get done with this one. We will see, because I know how my brain works, and my mood reader brain is all like, you know, read something else. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm gonna try to start reading this one today and see how far I get and go from there. But yeah, that's it for right now. I will update you all later. Hi everyone. So this is pretty much an update on what I am currently reading. I just washed my hair. I have like 1 or 2 days of like good hair, and then from then on it just looks like crap. So especially in the summer, my hair looks greasy very quickly. So I am reading what's this called again? I'm reading Mafia Mistress. I think it's Mila Finelli. I'm like 48% in. So far, I'm liking it. Previously, I will go and put it up. I was starting to read Sarah Kate, This Was Praise. I was like 13 or 14% in, and I could not continue with that book. I could not continue with that book. I felt like the woman was too stupid to live. I understand, you know, there are authors out there that they want to be inclusive. Totally get it. Totally get it. But this bitch was so dumb. So she goes to her ex-boyfriend's father's house. And this guy, he's obviously loaded. She notices this. Typical. She notices this. Oh, this guy's loaded. And so she needed her $1,000 back for, you know, her and her boyfriend had obviously rented this apartment. You need a security deposit. And as long as, you know, everything looks great, you can get your security deposit back. So she needed the $1,000. So she goes over to the dad's house. He mistakes her to be someone who likes to be on her knees for him. And so she goes down on her knees, and I'm like, why? You don't know him. You think he's good looking, but you don't know him. And you're going to go on your knees? Then once, you know, because he finds out very quickly, that she is not who he thought she was. So he gets her up really quickly, gives her the check of what is owed, and, you know, he's like, okay, go about your day. So she stops at the door and is like, oh, I'm going to go and get more out of this guy. And I'm like, oh, honey, no. So he goes and gives her like an extra $5,000. And I'm like, oh, no one gives you money for free, honey. There's going to be something else along with this. You do not get anything for free, okay? There's always a catch. So she gets the money, and she's working at this place that is a roller skating rink. Okay, I don't know about you, but where the fuck is there a roller skating rink anymore? Maybe in small towns, if that. Who goes roller skating anymore? That was like an 80s thing. You know, 80s and 90s was like roller skating. I don't see anybody roller skating anymore. So she works for this crappy roller skating rink. He shows up at her place of work, because of course he finds out where she works. And he's like, oh, I want you to be my secretary. Okay. She has no experience with being a secretary, but you're going to have her be your secretary. Oh, dude, there are definitely intentions here. Okay, I'm going to have some strange dude who has these particular things that he likes to do, and he's going to hire me to be his secretary. I think not. I'm not that stupid. I may have been born at night, but not last night. So, yeah, that to me, I was like, okay, far-fetched, thank you. So, she doesn't question him on, like, all of the activities that go on with this club, but then asks him, are they inclusive? That's the question you have to ask, is if they are inclusive. Not, what kind of fucked up shit do you do at this club? No, are they inclusive? It's 2022. You would think that they would be inclusive. Okay? Yeah, it just like, it was so like, the way the writing was done, it just seemed forced to me. You know, there are right ways and wrong ways to write in gay, lesbian, black, brown, whatever, inclusive characters. There are ways to write them in without it looking forced. This to me seemed like it was forced. Like, oh, I gotta make sure that I put in the ABC and all this other stuff, otherwise I'm gonna look bad, you know? So to me, I was like, this looks forced to me. I was actively rolling my eyes. And when I got to that part, I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm done. I'm done. I am done. I am not reading this anymore. This woman is too stupid to live. If I'm going to work for this person who owns this company that does things, that's not going to be my question. My first question is going to be, is everything that goes on there legal? You know, are the participants 18 and over? That would be my question. Not, is their club inclusive? I don't know. To me, it's like, when you live a more, what they would consider deviant lifestyle, when you live more of that, you see other things pop up with it. Now, people who are part of the BDSM community and all that stuff, they already get hated on enough. Now you add in some underage, creepy predator shit, and it makes the whole thing look bad. So I was like, no, that was not the right question to ask. This seems forced. This is stupid. So I was like, no. So I have another book by that author that I will get to. What's it called again? Oh, it's Burn for Me. I will read that book. If I am not impressed by this author's writing, no, it will be no more for me. Everybody kept talking about that book, praise. And it's like, okay, are you like liking the book because it's got this kink in it? Because I've read all kinds of kink, and to me, it's like, I want the story to be believable, you know, and I want, you know, it to be not creepy. So to me, I was just like, okay. So, long story short, I am now reading Mafia Mistress by Mila Finelli. This one here, I don't want to say it's not bad. It's not bad. But I will say, like, I keep trying to give Mafia books a chance, and they do not always work for me. For the fact that it's like, if it's a historical romance, I can understand why women do not have the agency to choose their own husbands, and maybe they have to marry for a title and things like that. You know, I can understand that aspect to it when it comes to an historical romance, because women during that time didn't have that agency. They just didn't, you know? But now it's like, you've got the mafia that are all like, oh, the woman needs to be a virgin. 2, needs to marry like this particular individual. There's no love matches. I don't like that. I don't like it. I get very angry when I read those types of books, because usually in the cases, the women are not treated well. They're not treated well. They're treated as a fucking ornament. And I do not like those types of stories. I don't want to treat it where, oh, she's got a pretty face and she's got no fucking brain. Oh, I hate that. So anyways, luckily with this one here, so far I will say the heroine does not annoy me. She is not stupid. She seems smart for an 18-year-old, you know, and this is the other thing, is I don't like her age. I really wished that she was a little bit older, because the one she's getting involved with it was her fiance's father. Yeah. So this guy is like 20 years older than her, you know, at least. If he got like married at like 18 or so, or 20, he's like 20 years older than her. So he knows more stuff in the bedroom and things like that. And I will say, like, there was a scene where he obviously goes down to Tuna Town, so it's good that he, you know, will do that. But when she went for him, you know, went down for him, it was kind of like the choking and gagging type of thing. I am not into that. I don't know. It's not my kink. It's not my thing. If somebody does that to me, they're getting punched in the balls. That's what's happening. That is what is happening. I will punch somebody in their nutsack if they try that with me. Ain't gonna happen. So for me, it's hard for me to accept that when a heroine does that. I'm like, okay, that's your kink. That's what you like. But it's a hard thing for me to read on that. So I'm almost at the 50% point where obviously he's going to, you know, have sex with her. I will say I don't really all that like his cockiness where he's like, oh, I'm gonna have her. Yeah. And I will say I predicted his son because there's something going on with his son and I predicted it. And I was like, it's a little too predictable. I was able to figure it out. So, yeah. So instead of her now marrying his son, the father's like, oh, I want her as my mistress. Oh, yeah. Oh man, I don't know. I mean, the other thing I don't like about this is that when I delved into this book, I did not realize this is a fucking duet. I hate when authors do this. I hate duets because now I got to read the second story just to see what happens with these characters. So I heard it ends on a cliffhanger, which I friggin' hate. I hate cliffhangers. So now I'm gonna have to deal with this cliffhanger because I want to continue to read this book. I do like it enough to continue reading it. I do have certain problems with it, but I do like it enough to keep reading. So I'm at the point where, you know, they've done some sexual stuff, but not gone all the way. And I do want to finish off this book. And now I'm forced to get into the second book. I'm going to be forced into reading the second book. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue on with the series because the third book has like a totally different couple. And then the fourth book, I'm pretty sure is going to be his son. What's this guy's name again? Fausto. Fausto's son. I'm pretty sure is going to be the fourth book. And I don't know. I mean, I guess I have to see like toward the end of like how I feel about this book. But so far, I don't know. I'd probably give it like a 3, maybe a 4. It all depends on how it ends. It's not bad. I will say it's not bad. But I have like a few issues with it. I'll just say that. I have a few issues that I really wish that the author did not do. I'm not into like the high kink and all that stuff. The more I read it, the more I get grossed out by it, the more I get kind of irritated with it. Yeah. I'll say that right now. But anyways, that's it. I don't want to keep going on with this update because it'll be too long and it'll make this video too long. So I will update you all later when I finish the book and tell you what I think about it and go from there. And then I gotta delve into the other book. So yeah. So I will update you all later. Okay, so update. I finished off Mafia Mistress. Now I was going to just be like, F the rest of this series because I really was like, not liking this. See, this is the type of mafias I don't really care for. So you have these two characters where Francesca, she goes by Frankie, is basically kidnapped, in lack of a better term, kidnapped and gonna be forced into this marriage to this, they're both 18. I think his name is Giuliano. I think it's Giuliano. Giulio. I don't know. I think it's Giulio. It's so hard with some of these Italian names. It's like Giulio. I think it's Giulio. So they're supposed to be married. This whole book, she's just like, I want to go home. I just want to go home. I just want to go home. Through the whole book, she's saying, I just want to go home. So Fausto, as soon as he sees her, at her father's house, he's instantly attracted to her. But she is supposed to be for his son. So throughout the book, you have Frankie and Giulio, who have like really great friendship, and then she finds out something about Giulio that would make his father very angry if he found out about it. And so she is in a way trying to protect Giulio, but also she's attracted to Fausto. She's attracted to the father because, he brings out something in her. This book is definitely more lust-based. It's not, I don't see it as being love. I did not see these characters in love. I did not feel that. I felt it was lust. Lust. Especially because it's like, him kept like looking at her body, like being attracted to her body, and then like start to feel like a little bit attraction, obviously, to her mind and how her mind worked. But I definitely felt it was definitely more lust based than anything else. And so I finished off that book. It ended on a cliffhanger, and I was like, which I hate cliffhangers. But I was like, you know what? I need to delve into the second book just to see what happens with these characters. And I basically skimmed the book because I really just did not care because I didn't like this book. But I decided to skim, basically kind of read through quickly the second book, which is Mafia Darling. And I will say, he does something very stupid in the first book, to where in the second book he has to like make up for when it comes to Frankie. And I will say he groveled for like half of the book, at least groveled. So I did like that aspect to it. I will say, like, there's parts of him that I think are really sweet, and the way he treated her was really nice. But then there's other parts of him that I thought he was just straight up asshole. Just straight up asshole. And then, like I said, I felt their relationship was very lust-based and not love. So, the first book has a surprise pregnancy. Are you surprised? Probably not. But it has a surprise pregnancy. So, in the second book, she is, pregnant. And so he's, very much wants to be involved in, how the pregnancy is, which I thought was very nice, that he wants to be involved, wants to go to see the sonograms and all this other stuff, wants to, do whatever he can to make sure she's pleased. So I did like that aspect to it with the second book. He wants to be more involved in that process, to where in his first marriage with his wife, she kind of like pushed him out of that kind of whole thing. And so he never got a chance to like see the progression of like the child's belly growing, you know, in the mother and all that stuff. He never got to see any of that stuff. So this time around, he wanted to, you know, at least have that aspect to it, which I thought was really sweet because I will say there's some guys out there who I consider part-time parents. They don't really care about that stuff, you know. My ex, you know, when you go and you, there are mothers out there, you know, that give birth and the fathers give them what you would call a push present, you know, where the mothers end up getting a present from the father, you know, as a way of like, oh, well, you gave me a child, so, you know, here's a present for you. There's the thing, that's what it's called. It's called the push present. So, I had told, when I was with my ex at the time, I was like, oh, you didn't get me anything. And he's like, I gave you that baby, didn't I? Yeah, that's pretty much, it's either two ways. You either have a guy who, you know, does that for you, or it's the other guy who is like, I gave you that baby, didn't I? Kind of like, you know, he did his job. And I was like, nice, nice. Yeah, that's really nice. So, yeah. Anyways, for this one here, I will say Enzo was like, you know, doting on her. So I did like that. Not Enzo, Fausto. Fausto was doting on her. Enzo's another guy. Enzo is for the third book, and I really don't want to read that one. I'll just say that. I really don't. Because Enzo does not come off as... Enzo's kind of like an enemy of that family, you know. It's Fausto and Enzo kind of like fighting amongst each other, and that's what it is, fucking mafia and shit. I'm like, can you guys, like, I don't know, get along? It'd be so nice if y'all could just get along. Why the fuck you have to constantly keep fighting with each other? I mean, it just makes no sense to me. It's just so stupid. You know, it's that's what it is with wars. It's like, it's either people fighting over land, money, power. That's it. That's what these people fight over. You know, it's the same thing with like, how many fucking years are we going to see the Palestinians and the Israelis fucking fighting with each other? I mean, seriously, it's just been going on for fucking centuries. And so it's the same goddamn thing where you're like, when the fuck are y'all going to stop fighting? Seriously. This is stupid. So, and like I said, I take no sides when it comes to that side. You know, whether it's Israel or Palestine. I don't give a fuck, because let them fucking duke it out amongst themselves. Not my problem. So, but yeah, with this one here, it was just like them two fighting with each other, and then it's like you get your families involved and fucking mafia bullshit, man. So I did like the fact that in the second book, Fausto changed his mind a bit about his son. So I did like that aspect to it, to the book. And Frankie definitely had a hand in that. So I appreciate that aspect to it, that she really pushed Fausto to be better, you know? And I want to read his book. I want to read, was it Giulio's book? I think it's Giulio. I want to read his book because I felt so bad for him. Because he loved somebody that his father did not approve of. And I was just like, oh, it was so sad. It was so sad. And that's who I felt sorry for the most out of the two books. Was I felt sorry for Giulio. And so I, like his book, I think is the fourth book, I'm pretty sure. I do want to read that one. Even though this fucking series is just fucked. It is. It really is. It's just... But I'm hoping that one will be better. Because I just disliked Fausto for the most part. I thought he was just an asshole. He was a major asshole. And then her, there were times I'm like, I liked her fight, and then there were other times she like weakened for him, and I was like, girl, just because he's got a big, you know, doesn't mean you have to go down to fall at your knees for this man. Okay, come on, stop it. You are embarrassing us as a sex. Come on. So for me, I was just like, there were times that she did stuff that I was like, girl, you need to be stronger than that. Because, you know. But yeah, those ones there, I just, I'd say if you really love messed up drama, mafia stuff, you probably would like those books. But for me, I just, that's the part of the mafia stuff I don't like. Those are the stories I don't like when it comes to mafia romances, because it's all over the place. It's fucking chaotic, and I'm just like, I just don't care for it. It's just, I'm not a fan. So I'm skipping book 3. I don't want to read Enzo's story. I do not want to read him. And then the woman he gets involved with, I'm like, oh, I know who she is. No. I'm like, no. No, we're not doing that. So I'm skipping over book 3. I'll wait for book 4 to come out because I want to see what happens with Giulio and his love story. I want to see that. But yeah, oh man, this was just drama. This was so much drama, and I felt like he was too old for her, like her being 18. I was just like, it's kind of creepy. It's creepy. It definitely has some creepiness to it. So for me, I'm like, I don't know. I prefer, like, if you're gonna have like an age gap romance, at least have the characters be like, oh, you know, mid-20s, around there. I'd feel a little more comfortable at that aspect. But oh man, this was drama and headache, seriously. But I was like, you know what? I was involved in the book, and I'm like, this is a fucking train wreck, but I need to keep reading. And like I said, both of these books, I'm gonna give them a 3. But I will say, the second book, I did appreciate that there was some type of conclusion to when it come to Giulio's love story with who he loved. And there was some changing of his father's mind. I did like that aspect to it. And then, you know, the relationship evolving a little bit better for Frankie and Fausto. I liked that too. I thought that was a little better. I don't know, maybe I should give it a higher rating. Maybe I should give it 4, but I'm still gonna stick with 3. And that's me being nice. I'm gonna stick with 3s. Just say it was decent. Not great, but not terrible. I have read worse. I'll just say that. I have read worse. So, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I'm finishing up this video. Next week, I'm really hoping that I can get my mind to read the second book in the Elizabeth Hoyt Maiden Lane series. I'm really hoping I can kind of like get myself to start reading it, because I was gonna do that in this one and I got sidetracked with other stuff. So but yeah, I'm hoping I can do that, so that way I could slowly get through the Maiden Lane series and see what happens with that one. So I think reading this one here with the messed up mafia crap really kind of like puts me in the mind to, you know, try to get into the second book in the Maiden Lane series. Maybe less drama, I don't know, but we shall see. Anyways, I need to get something to eat. Have yourselves a good day. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to each other. And I will see you all on the next video. All right. Bye.